Hi and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be taking you through one of my sketchbooks. So we're going to do a sketchbook tour of this particular one. For every year of my life I keep a sketchbook, and this was for the year 2020. So this starts with all of my feelings, my memories from that year, and also a lot of my travels. So this also ran into 2021, and I think I finished it very recently, so I thought why not take you through my entire sketchbook and my life. Alright, so let's see what's inside this sketchbook. I have put these stickers over here, which is from my sticker collection. I will leave the link of it in the description box. So this sketchbook I got from this website called as the Scholar Store. This is about 300 GSM watercolor sheet. It is cold press. Although it is watercolor sheet, I don't find it very comfortable for doing multiple layers of watercolors. I will show you inside some examples so you will get an idea. So what I like about this sketchbook is that it is landscape. This is A5 size, and it's so comfortable for me to like carry around everywhere, and it's very lightweight. And I really like this elastic band that comes along. So let's see what's inside. I haven't written over here, and the condition of this book is a little damaged because I ended up pouring water inside the backpack in which this was kept once. Thankfully, it did not damage my artwork. It did not damage the book also much. Of course, a few pages like over here, they got bent because of the excess water, but otherwise my actual watercolor sheets haven't got damaged. So it's an interesting story behind it. So this was the first sketch that I created on this, and this was all the way back in September 2020. In fact, this was the first time that I got out of the house after the lockdown. We went to this cafe called Amethyst. It was my brother and I, and we visited there, and I tried out ink. This entire thing is made with ink and mapping nim, and I was trying it out for the first time, and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the strokes, the way of filling, and everything with it. So this was the coffee table where we were sitting, and from the room there was a veranda, and there's sitting space over there as well, and then there is a garden. So I loved capturing that in this. And from there, this was so this was 14 September and this was 26 September. So this was at a place called Surf Turf, which is next to Chennai, in a place called Kovalam. This is a place where you can go surfing, and I went here with my fiance and captured the beautiful space over there. And we move multiple months ahead. So earlier I wouldn't take I wouldn't work on a sketchbook extensively. I would still work on a lot of sheets of paper because I was teaching a lot of classes, and my sketchbook was only for me when I was traveling, and I would just get something over there if I felt like. It was not something which was inside me every single day. I wouldn't pick it up. So this was basically about 3-4 months back in January in 2021. I had gone to this place called Varkala with a bunch of friends, and it's a nice tropical place. It's a beachy place. So this was from the balcony of the place we were staying at, and this was in Alleppey, again in Kerala. Same month we had done like this trip where we went to Alleppey. We were staying inside a houseboat, and then we went to Varkala from there. And this was in Goa in Feb. We went for our first staycation, and this was for about 2 weeks, and I absolutely loved it. In fact, I think staycations is what helped us to understand the kind of home we wanted to create for ourselves, the studio that I wanted. So capturing these things in the sketchbook, it just brings back all the memories. This was on the very first day we reached at the place of stay. It was like a homestay service apartment kind of a place, and it had this huge dining table where I was working out of, and a smaller table which we kept at the balcony. This is where Arvind, my husband, used to work out of, and the balcony opened out to like an entire open area which had lots of trees and leaves, and just the whole vibe of this place was so beautiful. From there, this is in the same holiday, we went to a cafe called Zula. So you can just like walk down, and there is like the riverfront over there. So we went there during sunset. So you can see all the ink from here has got stuck, but even though that's there, the memory of this place is so amazing, and it doesn't matter at the end of it whether you make a beautiful piece of art or not. because every time you open up your sketchbook, you are going to see something, and that's going to trigger all the beautiful memories from that trip. All the problems that you had will seem so minuscule after a point. So there's an interesting story behind this. This is called Garden of Dreams in Goa, and this was the only place that I've ever experienced where they were a little skeptical that I was sketching and painting over there. They were very worried that the paint is going to spoil their table. I normally am very careful. I do not like make anybody else's sketch table or their belongings dirty with my art. And I don't carry acrylic paints outside because that can leave a permanent mark. I carry only watercolors or any other medium which does not leave a permanent mark. So it was a nice cafe, everything, but then it wasn't a place that I will go back to again probably. So this is the interesting story from there. So here I have tried out masking fluid. I remember carrying a lot of art supplies for this trip. I had carried my watercolors, my acrylics, I think also gouache. I'm not able to recollect, but I'd carried like a lot of different kinds of palettes as well with me. This was at Arjuna. There's a place cafe over there, and I met another artist called Mamta Singh, and it was a really wonderful experience over there. This is a fun structure that they've created over there. This is basically for kids. They have like a tree house, but then there were a lot of adults who were running around over there trying to see if they can get on to this tree house and then sit on the swing and take pictures. So I also don't remember ever getting on a tree house when I was a kid. So given a chance, I would also love to get on this. This was sunsets. Sunsets are definitely more beautiful to see than my sketches, but this was an interesting one. It felt like a dual sunset because in Mandrim you have like the ocean, the sea basically, and then there is this layer of sand, and there is another like layer of water which is going around. That's also like it's not very deep. It's about like 1 or 2 feet, but it's so beautiful. So here it was reflecting in both. So it was a very magical moment, and so I like these small stories that I write with it. So it becomes like a journal sketchbook for me. And there would be like some interesting story about that holiday, and I would have like captured it over here. So in all our holidays, especially to beach locations, we try to capture the sunrise and sunset. Even if we miss the sunrise, which is most of the days, we definitely try and go to the beach during sunset. So this was one such event where we wanted to go to a Royal Enfield garage cafe, but we thought that we would miss the sunset, so we skipped it and we came to this very beautiful cafe called Coleso, and it was one of the best sunsets. So I remember feeling very happy, relaxed on these beach chairs, and we took like a couple of pictures of us relaxing. So I'm able to like feel very happy about all of these memories coming back to me. So in the same trip, we stayed for 1 week in north part of Goa and in the other week at the south. So this was when we moved to the south part, which was in Patnam. So this was an Airbnb and at Palolem. Yeah, it was called Palolem Gardens, in fact. And there was this really beautiful side table over there for working. In fact, I think because of the lockdown and COVID and everybody working from home, a lot of Airbnbs started incorporating having a table because they knew people would come there for staycations, vacations, or for a longer stay, or they would like just rent out places in Goa to stay for a very long duration. We went to the Palolem beach. It was really crowded, so we reached different beaches. That's how we started exploring a lot of places. This was our first time in South, and we had no idea where to go, so it was like a discovery. So in fact, I think the best part of it was visiting Kola Beach. We every place that we went to, we would strike up a conversation with somebody, and they would then give us tips to go to another place. Like we had, we reached in Agonda, we had orange juice at one particular cafe, and there they told us about Kola Beach, and so next morning we decided, okay, let's go there. So we did an evening trip to Kola. So anybody who's like thinking of visiting Kola Beach, my tip would be to go there in the morning, because the way to reach there is a little complicated. So this year, in last year, that is in 2022, when we went again to Kola Beach, we figured out that there are two routes to go there. One is a shorter and one is a longer one. Both require a little bit of walking. The first time we went there, we ended up taking the longer route, which meant about 20-25 minutes of walk. And it's not like it's like a mountainous, walky, hilly region, and it was very muddy. So what happened was we reached there and it felt magical. So walking endlessly for like so long, and then there was this small partition and the road led to this beautiful beach which has the beach on one side and backwaters on the other side. So it felt like paradise. So while coming back is when it was a little scary for us because there were no lights, and so we had to rely on our phone torch lights, and you don't get any network in a lot of places in Goa. So it was a little bit scary, but it was a beautiful experience. So which is why we went back again the second time. And this was in Bob Marley Cafe, and we took a dip in the ocean. So I like all of these fun things that I've written. Oh, there's also this I just read this, that I dipped my brush in the masala chai over there. So I think this is a very common thing that happens to a lot of artists. Sometimes you're just like so engrossed in the flow that you don't understand if you are dipping your brush in water or you're dipping it in your drink. So these were all the other. This was another sunset, and this was our adventure to Kola. Basically, it was a bike ride and then mud road, and then hilly terrain, 20 minutes, absolutely no lights. Kola Beach in the backwaters. This is how the backwaters are. So there's a lot of like place of stay from here, so you can just look at the backwaters from the stay places over here, and you can go kayaking. You can't go in too much. There is a limit to which you can go. It's a little less, but it's very nice. And you can also swim in this part of Kola, which is at the backwaters. You're not allowed to swim in the ocean because I think it's too strong. So this was from the balcony, our view. There was a swimming pool in where we were staying, but because of COVID, there were restrictions, so we couldn't swim. I was a little bit disappointed with that, but I think safety is more important. Filter the noise. I think this is a very important thing for everybody. It's important for us to understand what is good information to have and what other thing is noise. And you really need to filter all the noise from your life, and that makes life so much more beautiful. This was more cafes, and so we went to Goa for celebrating Arvind's 30th birthday, and we found a very cute cafe called Jali, and we got basically the orange gluten-free cake from there, and we cut that at night, and I had put up all of these fairy lights all around the house, and it was just so much fun and very magical. We wanted to surf the next morning, but we couldn't get a slot, so we ended up just relaxing and chilling the entire day. And during sunset, we found an interesting thing. There was a very nice scene where there was a dog, and it was sitting on one of the rocks facing the sunset, and it watched the entire sunset along with us. I mean, I don't think it knew that we were there, or it didn't care about it. It was like much ahead, but it was just such a beautiful thing to see it do that. This was so we took like a boat ride. It takes you to about a couple of beaches around, which is the Honeymoon Beach, the Butterfly Beach, and I think a couple of other places. You see a turtle rock, so when you're like passing through, you can see the turtle's head coming out. And at the Honeymoon Beach we could swim. At the Butterfly Beach, he didn't stop for swimming. They just like took us through that. There are multiple ways also to come to Butterfly Beach other than through the boat. There are multiple ones, so you basically have to trek and come here. And we spotted dolphins. This was a very, very fun experience because I've not spotted dolphins before, so this was really fun to see. This this is an interesting story. We found I think this is a sunscreen. Yeah, so this is Neutrogena sunscreen, which is basically waterproof sunblock. And so far we had been buying it only online, and we had not seen it in any in fact, even online we didn't see it in any Indian websites. We had been buying it from anybody who was visiting from US, or we would just like pay the shipping charge and buy this, because I don't surf so much, but then my husband surfs a lot, so he used to get it for that. And here in Goa we saw like this was in abundance. In fact, there were so many different kinds of sunblocks available, especially in South Side. So this was very exciting find for us. And I think we went a little overboard and bought a lot of these and came. That was the end of Goa. Here is a couple of months later. This was in July. We went to a beach house and I captured that. So now when I look at it, my illustrations are a little flat. So I don't have like a lot of depth happening. And this has been something that I've been like trying to work on for a while right now. And it's interesting to see where I have come from like so long to now. This was a mini holiday that we did at Surf Top the next month in August, and this is basically Arvind surfing. I did this from the balcony. This is again the Madras beach house. I painted the home. A lot of times I like skip pages and then I come back to it later. So I think I painted this over there and then I came back and I think painted this. We were in the tube. The significance of this small illustration over here is so huge. We were a bunch of friends and we were in the pool for about like 6 to 8 hours that day, and every holiday of ours is so magical because at the pool is where we have the maximum fun. We have conversations, we talk, we laugh, we catch up. Like it's I think the pool is where it's our place, it's our zone. So this small illustration brings about like so many memories. This is when we went to Pondi. This was in fact a complete year ago. This was in 21 and this was 20. We'd gone here for our honeymoon and I had really loved this photograph. So I picked up the image and I painted it in later. And we'd gone to all the road trips we go in this car, in our car, which is the i20. So it's a red, beautiful car. So I sketched that. This was a fun experiment. I didn't want to do outlines. I wanted to try something in gouache style. I don't think I used gouache though. I'm not sure. I think I might have used gouache, but like very sparingly. I think it's a lot of times you have this mind block if you're using a very expensive gouache that you don't want to waste it, but I think you should utilize it properly. So we'd gone, a couple of us had gone to Decathlon and then we stopped by for coffee. This was the coffee shop. In fact, it was really beautiful. My sketch doesn't do justice, but I'm able to like recollect in my head how the cafe looked like. We went back to Goa again in the same year in September, and this time we went there to celebrate my birthday, and there was also a family holiday that was happening. So we went this time to a place called Arambol, and a lot of like fun things happened in that trip. There were oil spills in the beach, which was a little sad to see in a lot of places over there. So we didn't know that was a common thing that happens in Goa. And I was trying a different style where I didn't want to sketch or color everything. I wanted to only color the sunset. So I like how this has come. And this is our staple dish. Every time we would surf, we would be so hungry. So we had a lot of aloo parathas and very nice masala chai. So the two things that I loved in Goa are its masala chai and the orange juice. This was the scene at Arambol. We would go there almost every day and stay there for hours and hours together. There were so many beautiful shacks. This was again another sunset. And we stayed in a couple of places in Arambol. This was the first place. We were here for just about 2 days, I think. And it had a nice swimming pool, and there were a lot of mosquitoes though, so I did a very quick sketch from the dining area and I left. This day was a little sad and like I won't call it very unhappy, but a little okay. Like we figured out a lot of things about ourselves. So we'd gone to Arambol. It was raining, and Arvind had gone for surfing, and he had our GoPro with him, and there was another guy surfing with him, just some person we found over there. And he said he volunteered to take his picture, and he slipped while he was on the surfboard, and with him, while he slipped, the GoPro fell and we lost it. So this was the day we lost our GoPro, and it was very sad in that way, but at the same time, neither of us were angry or disappointed, or we didn't have the mood swings like that. We knew that there was nothing we could do. We did try searching for it for a while, but I don't think you can find it once it goes into the ocean. It's too vast. We discovered a sweet water lake. It was so nice over here in Arambol. A little bit of walk from the beach. This again, we found out by talking to somebody at the beach. So just striking up conversations is very important. I would highly recommend you to do that if you're traveling somewhere. So this was a lake where we swam, and there were a few snakes. I think they are not harmful because they are the snake lakes. I mean the lake snakes. So they're not supposed to be poisonous. But then we figured about that like much later. But it was a little scary when we found out later that they were snakes. So this was one more sunset. And we moved to a place in Seolim after that. My brother had also joined us, and this was at Udo Beach. This was such a beautiful place. This is where I celebrated my birthday also. So there was this small island. So there were these rocks, and then I think the beach and the sand, and there was this small gap through which you can see the ocean on the other side, and that was just so beautiful to see. So I really liked it over here. So this was the view from our balcony at that Airbnb, and it is here that we decided that when we ever move to our place, it has to have a swimming pool. We need to have a balcony. So these were two things that we wanted, and it was these travels that helped us to understand this. And I think when we moved finally in 2022, we did end up moving to a place which had a swimming pool and a balcony. So whenever I look at this sketch, it's very nostalgic for me, and I also feel very emotional and happy about it. So there were a lot of rains when we went, so we did go during rains. Even in rains, Arvind went surfing and Kushal ran, and I was painting. So I like all of these small snippets that I have written along with it. Again, if you notice, this is the Udo Beach. This is that gap I was talking about. This is a very funny illustration. Painting is really funny, but I know that we had a magical sunset over here. This was on the eve of my birthday. And much later, like I think I didn't sketch for about 4-5 days after that. We went to a cafe because we did not have internet at home. There was a power cut entire day and our backup ran out. So we went to a cafe and we tried staying over here as long as the cafe was open. And after that, we had to like stand outside. This is a very adventurous evening for us. Kolesu, where we had gone in our March trip, we came back again over here. And I think this was the last from the Goa trip because this was on my first anniversary. So the first wedding anniversary that we had, we went to this place called Alibag in Maharashtra, which is next to Mumbai. So you have to take basically a ferry and go till there. So we went to Provenance Cafe. It was so beautiful. Like the entire place is done up so well. Very aesthetic. There's like a lot of quiche or quiche. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But it was lovely. I loved the place. And after that, I think I didn't sketch, or I think this was again a page that I had left, and this was in December 24th. During Christmas, we had gone to Fort Kochi, and that week we were there in Kochi, then in Munnar, and we celebrated New Year's in Varkala. So this was where we were staying in Kochi, in Neemrana. I loved the place. I didn't know that Neemrana had this thing where each room is different from the other. So the room that we stayed in, so outside that room is this entire area, and it felt like the whole thing was ours. That's how it felt for us. So this was a lovely experience, and I think I had left a page, so I came back to this in 2022 in September, like almost a year later. And I found another artist who lives in my same society, and we go for sketch walks. So this was during one of those sketch walks. I was painting all the beautiful trees which are over here, plants basically. So this was gouache. I had got Himi gouache and I was trying that out, and I really like how this entire thing has come out. This is again from the same trip in 21. This was in Loafers Cafe in Fort Kochi, and this was in Varkala on 30th December. We went surfing at Kapil Beach. This was a lot of funny memories associated with this. I'm very bad at surfing, and on that day, everybody else, like I think there were too many surfers, and most of them were beginners, some of them were advanced, intermediate, and I ended up getting a very difficult board. So there are different kinds of boards. One is for beginners, one is for intermediate, and nobody who was intermediate wanted to give me their board, which is for a beginner. So I was terrible at it. So much so that they kept trying to change the different instructions they were giving me to make it easier, but I sucked. So finally, in the middle of the entire session, they exchanged my board with somebody else, and when he fell a million times is when I felt kind of happy that it was just not me who was falling like constantly. It was the board as well, which was like making it even difficult for me. This was December 30th in Varkala. We were staying in a very interesting place. I'm not able to recollect the name. I hope I've written it over here. Yes, it's called the Mint Inside Beach. It was near the Black Beach. I loved it. It was such a peaceful New Year's. In fact, on December 31st, we were sitting at the beach, and there were just like 5 people at the beach. There was nobody else, and I haven't like been to a place which is that quiet on December 31st. In fact, I don't step out on 31st because it'll be crowded, and this was like the perfect end to the year for us. After that, I had a few pages, so when I picked this book back again in 2022, which is like a couple of months back, I decided to just like sketch things from my memory, from pictures and from every holiday that we took, and then I ditched that idea and I started doing live sketch again. So this was in fact this was last month in 2023 in Jan, where I went for sketching. So this book like started in 2020 and then it went up to like 23. So I took almost like I won't say 3 years in like figuratively it's 3 years, but then it's probably like 2.5 years that I took to complete this book, and it's really crazy that I took so long. So this was in Chitra Sante in Bangalore. It's very interesting, like from lockdown to this book has seen everything. Me being in Chennai and then moving to Bangalore, getting married, everything, like, you know, it's such a beautiful story this book, sketchbook has. This was also in Chitra Sante. This was a book I read recently and I absolutely love it. Like, I cannot believe there is a concept like this. We all think there's something called Higu. Basically, it's about cozy living, very mindful in the sense you really want to love your space. So that's what this is about. I would highly recommend you to read it. Ikigai is another book I read, and this was a live sketch that I did. We went for sketch walk near our neighborhood, and the people inside, one of them was so intrigued. He came, he was speaking to me, and he said he used to sketch and he was in school. So it was a very nice conversation that we had. So this was a very a nice day for me, because whenever they have conversations with strangers and there's a smile on their face, when they see art, they connect with it. It just like is so worthwhile and it feels very nice. This is a fruit vendor who sits over there every day, and this is her child. I think in a lot of my illustrations you will see them recurring in different ways. We got in fact during Christmas I got this home decor planter holder, which we have kept outside our house right now. So I decided to paint that. And this is again when we went for a sketch walk. I tried a different style. I wanted to understand how to do like light and shadow, and so I've just been like experimenting different ways. I think sketchbook is like the perfect place for you to experiment. Whenever you want to learn something new, you want to try something new, I would highly recommend you to try it out in sketchbook. Like, this is so mundane, it's just basic everyday things which is out there. This was just Reliance Trends, which is again near in my neighborhood, and this was the person who would like open the door. So it was just nice for me to capture it. They have like this tent over here where they sell SIM cards. So it was just very nice for me to see it. There were a lot of other distractions here. There were things parked, there were vehicles, and I just like removed all of it and just had her in the center, or like a little bit that way. Then the next day, or I think on the same day, there was one person. He was an onion. He was a vendor. He was selling onions. So he was measuring them, putting them in like packets like this, and people would come and buy. So we were sketching him, and he was very intrigued to see what we're doing. He came, he looked at it, he was really happy, took a picture of the painting, and then we took a picture of him with the art, and it's just very nice to see that. And there's been never a bad experience sketching outside. We always feel a little shy to go do that, but it's just been so rewarding every time we do it. This was a chart store. I'm yet to try the chart on this. I've drawn it so many times, but I've not tried the chart from here. And this is again near the neighborhood. This was a very silly thing. I was experimenting some markers, and I finished the entire sketch, just testing them out. And then I turned it and I saw that it had bled through. So I was a little disappointed, but then I thought, okay, sketchbook is for experimenting, so it's all right to do that. So this is the journey of my life from 2020 to 2023. This is how long I took to finish this sketchbook, but after this, I think I did take so long. I have been finishing sketchbooks really fast by experimenting, by observing what I have around me, what I like around me, and then just putting them all together. So if you're watching this video, I would highly recommend you to start practicing having a sketchbook. You don't really have to add in colors. You can just sketch, you can just draw whatever you see, whatever you feel, and write a few lines along with it. When you look back later and read, it would just be so heartwarming and all the memories come flooding back. So I hope you had fun joining me in today's sketchbook tour. I will see you soon. Bye bye.